Mic drop.
Okay, hang on. It's gonna. All right, thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Terry Holland, trainer of NLP, hypnosis, and timeline therapy.
Oh, good evening. My name is Stefano Casalter. I'm a award-winning speaker and the second half of the Complete Speaker System. And tonight, what are we talking about? How to become an excellent speaker.
Yeah, something like that.
Well, the first sense is to have the sense of excellence. It's funny, we were just talking about this weekend, and I was doing some trainings, and one of the big points of the whole training was to set yourself up for excellence. And to do that, you have to have a sense for excellence.
Right.
I think a lot of times what happens to people is, especially when it comes to speaking, they'll kind of dabble. When you dabble, you get dabbling results.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And now is actually International Speech Contest time from Toastmasters. And we both love to compete. And I think a lot of people don't bother is because they have this sense that they're going to lose.
Right.
And fact is, competing is one of the best ways to become an excellent speaker. Because winning isn't everything.
What?
Yeah, I know. I'm just kidding. Yes, it is.
It's everything.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, really.
To be honest with you, I think back a few years ago, and when I first started competing, my very first contest, I was excited. And I went up and I practiced the heck out of it, wrote my speech, and I performed my speech, and I came in second out of two people. But it wasn't about winning. For me, it was about becoming a better speaker.
Right.
And that's one thing that people don't understand is when you compete, you're forced to become a better speaker.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're forced to become the best you can be because at the highest levels, you're competing against thousands of people. And there can only be one winner. And you never know what's going to happen going from different, you start at the club level, then you go to the area level, then you go to the division level, then you go to the district level. And you never know who you're going to run into. You never know how the judges are going to judge you, but it doesn't matter. It's all about practicing the same speech over and over. And that's what a lot of people don't do. So they never get the sense of excellence because they don't push themselves. And I think pushing yourself and competing is one of the best ways to do it.
I agree.
Yeah. So just to say, the next time I competed, I won my first championship.
Nice.
Yeah. So what happened? How did I go from coming dead last to
second?
Well, yeah, that's right. To actually winning a championship. Well, it all revolved around that sense of excellence. So I practiced a lot. And I think the biggest thing that helped me was I got a good mentor. I had a good coach. And the reason why I always push someone to get a good mentor or get a good coach is because when you're in your own head, you can't see what's good and what's not good. You have to have someone from the outside looking in.
Absolutely.
If you really want to get a good view on it.
Yeah. Yeah, my first time competing, I had no idea what I was doing. I was a Toastmaster for maybe 3-4 months. So I didn't know what I was doing, but it also meant that I wasn't afraid to do it because I didn't really I didn't know what would happen. I didn't know you could win and go on. I didn't know. I just knew I was told to do this contest. So I did it. And I couldn't go on because I didn't have enough speeches, but I won my first contest.
Good for you. Must be nice.
But I couldn't go on because I hadn't done enough speeches yet. So I wasn't qualified. But then the next year was when it was the next year I competed, and and got to division and did not do well at all. And you and Andrew, you and Andrew lost to everyone. Actually, I think I was probably last. I think I lost to everybody in the contest, but you and Andrew included. Yeah, but it was because there were things I didn't know. I didn't know about competitive speaking that I wished I had known, and I didn't get that. I didn't get why one speech would do better than I didn't understand that part of it, and the speech craft that goes into competitive speaking.
It has a lot to do with speechcraft. A lot of people think that you can get a speech together, throw it together, and it's going to be perfect. Even if it's good, it's never perfect the first time. Sometimes you'll rewrite a speech 100 times. Professional speakers, if you want to make a living at professional speaking, you have to get good at it. You have to write your speeches. You use the same speeches over and over, but you have to perfect them. It's where the way I kind of look at it as, if you're an artist, like a stone worker. What do you call someone that carves in stone? Anyways, so you're one of those guys. So you chisel away and you have your beautiful statue made, but you still have to go back and you have to, take a little bit off here. You have to sand it. You have to polish it. It has to be perfect, especially when you're competing against the best there is. You have to make sure it's perfect.
Right.
Yeah. And don't lose hope, though. Some people, they'll go and they'll compete and they'll lose and they'll think, wow, you know what? That was the best I could do. How? And they'll give up right there. But my thing to say to them is, yes, it's the best you can do now, but just imagine how much better you'll be if you keep practicing. If you keep that sense of excellence, that's the key.
I think we had that conversation once upon a time a few years ago.
We may or may have not.
We had that conversation.
But see, you, for example, man, you're an amazing speaker. And
thank you.
And to think back, back then, when you thought it was the best you could do, I couldn't see it. All I could see was talent.
Thank you.
Yeah, but I was wrong.
I was waiting for it.
I know.
A punchline coming.
So yeah, so you have to go back and you have to keep honing your speeches. And what a lot of speakers do is they want to be a professional speaker, but they don't want to put time and effort into it.
Yes.
And here's what I say to that. If you want to dabble, you get dabbling results. If you want to just tinker, you're just tinkering. You're not taking it seriously. You need to put your heart and soul into it. And then once you get into that state, then the magic really happens.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually write your speech.
Oh, that's an awesome tip.
The biggest lesson I learned is actually write it, because you can't start to really shape it and craft it into anything until you have it written down.
See, a lot of
my speeches, I'd like walk around my living room and I'd come with a speech and I'd run that over and over again. It'd all be in my head. But I couldn't, what if I asked you for help with it, which is exactly what happened. I said, Stefano, help me with my speech. And you're like, send me something. Right? So
you're like, I don't want to.
I don't want to.
I don't want to.
Process. But
it's all up here.
You were right.
Go figure, yeah.
Go figure. You knew something.
Well, hey, I did the same thing. My mentor, Ian, he said, I tell the story all the time. He sat me down. He said, okay, send me something. I'm like, well, no, I don't, it's all up here. And he's like, well, okay, good luck. And then I didn't take it seriously. And I never did my homework. I never took it seriously. I dabbled. And he said, did you do your, he called it 10 by 10 by 10.
Yeah.
And I said, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. I didn't have time.
Oh.
I was like, oh, Eventually, it got to a point where it says, hey, you're on your own. And that was when I started taking it seriously. And I only became good when I started to do my homework. I started to make it something I did in everyday life. I started to start to record things in my story journal. I started to record funny things in my joke journal. And it all started eventually came together. And it was magical because then I didn't have to try so hard. I finally gained the sense of excellence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like a concert pianist. They practice scales for years. People hear them sit down and play Mozart or Beethoven, but not recognizing that for years they were practicing the same scales, the same progressions over and over and over until that became so ingrained that then they could play this beautiful music. It's the same with speaking. You have to fine tune your instrument and practice and do the things that maybe aren't the most fun. Like as speakers, I know that I like being on stage speaking. That's the fun part, is actually doing it. And to do that extremely well, to do that with excellence, is you have to practice and put in the work that goes in before that. So the stuff that's mundane, the stuff that's not fun, the writing out your speech, going over it again and again, looking for ways to edit it, doing the 10 by 10 by 10, keeping your story journal, doing all those things that might not seem like the most exciting part of it, but those are the things that are important to lead you to where you want to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I learned some things from you. I learned stuff.
I've learned a ton for you too. That's a good synergy. Good synergy.
Yeah. You work well. Yeah.
So yeah, prepare like a champion.
Oh, that's a good way to put it. Prepare like a champion.
Yeah. Even if you're not a champion yet, prepare like a champion.
Yeah.
Do what a champion would do to prepare.
Yeah. In NLP, that's modeling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Does what you want to do with excellence, like model excellence. And then if you can elicit their strategies, like how do they get there? And you do the same thing, you can produce the same result. But if you don't do the same things that they do, you can't produce the same result.
Absolutely. And just to go back to your writing your speech out thing, one thing I wanted to say is one reason why a lot of people don't do it is because they don't want to come off as robotic or reading things word for word. That's not the point of writing your speech out. Writing it out is so you have something that you can see and then you can go and make the changes.
Well, then I think that's where you can get into really specific detail in your speech and really craft your language and shape it in a way that you can't until you actually look at it.
It's those little nuances that make all the difference. And especially if you're a competitive speaker, that's what it's, or a professional speaker, or you want to be a professional speaker.
Right.
It's the little things that make a difference. Like, for example, the things we teach at the Fearless Speaker System.
Yeah.
Our weekend seminar, you learn how to stand properly, and you learn how to use your gestures properly. You learn how to get into the right state so you don't feel fear.
Yeah.
And your audience could sense this. You're like the conductor to the orchestra. We always use that metaphor. And if you don't have the skills to have the confidence to do it, then the whole band falls apart.
Yeah. And
your audience just reads off you. They feed off you. They follow your energy and what you're saying. I think another metaphor is one of my favorites is, when you're talking about the concert pianist.
Yeah.
A lot of beginning speakers, they'll take they'll take a week course or something like that, and they'll think, wow, yeah, I'm the best speaker now. Well, you might have the seeds, but it's like a concert pianist. He can go up and there's a piano, he can bang the keys, it makes sound, but it's not music. Yes. So practice and preparation is one of the best things. And here's the thing, let's go back to having a good coach. Is I shaved off years off of my learning curve having a good coach, because they've made all the mistakes. They know how to do it properly.
Yeah.
So save yourself the time and the effort. Get someone to help you that really knows what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Absolutely. That's really when I started to grow as a speaker, is by surrounding myself with better speakers. And yeah, and modeling that behavior. What do they do? What makes them good? Right?
Mm,
I think that's
absolutely.
a problem too. And I think um, in relating this to Toastmasters, I know for myself, in my first club, I got very comfortable because I was the best in that club.
Hmm.
So I wasn't growing.
Mm,
Like if you're the strongest where you are, you need a better group. If you're the most talented in the group you're in, you need a different group. So you need to surround yourself with people who are going to push and challenge you. So if you're already the best in your group, find a new group.
mm,
If you're on people who you can aspire to be at their level.
yeah.
And it wasn't amazing. Just saying, I'm not saying that like, oh, it was the best. It was just a lot of new speakers in the group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
be careful as you're competing, if you're competing or as you're growing as a speaker, be very careful with what you do with the feedback you get,
Oh yeah.
because a lot of the feedback you're going to get is foolish feedback. That's what I call it. The two
Yeah.
F's, foolish feedback. So what you do with all that is you look for commonalities in the feedback rather than because the fact is not a lot of people are qualified to give you feedback.
Right.
And then if you really want to know, find a speaker that you respect. Find someone that you've seen speak, and when you see them speak, you're just like, wow, that's a great speaker.
Yeah.
And ask them, what do you think of this? So once you ask someone that you really respect as a speaker, you'll get the good feedback, and it's something that you can take to heart.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
We had a good holiday. It's been weird not making these videos.
It has been. It's been a while. Like a
Yeah,
month. Has it been a
about a
month?
month. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
been a while.
It's been a nice break, but
Yeah, good break from you. Just...
yeah. Oh,
Kidding. Kidding. Jokes. Oh, the grumpy face.
so next weekend is our Fearless Speaker System.
Oh, that's next weekend already. Wow.
Yep. Yep. 2 weeks, not this weekend. That's the 26th and the 27th.
Mm-hmm.
And it's 2 days of amazing content. Yeah. Actionable things that you can use today to be a better speaker. Yeah. And if you're not sure about it, check out the reviews we've been getting or ask somebody that's taken the speaker training already, and you'll see it's a perfect way to start your speaking career. And even if you are a speaker already, there's tons of stuff that you probably won't know, because it's real stuff that's ingrained in NLP. Body language, unconscious signals you're giving out that most people don't know about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Are you saying something, or putting your hands in a certain way, or the way you hold your feet, the way you stand? Are you exuding presence, confidence? Or do you reek of insecurity? Now, you could be confident, 100% confident, but if you don't look confident, it's just as bad as not being confident.
And that's 93% of your communication. 93% of your communication is totally unconscious behavior until you become conscious of what you're doing on stage. So you could have the best speech, you could be saying all the right words, but if your body is communicating something differently, people perceive that as you're not trustworthy, or they don't quite believe you, or there's just something they don't quite trust.
And these are the seeds that we plant on the weekend. And we plant these seeds, and once you start to water them, your crop starts to grow.
Yeah.
And you start to get fruit. So it's a great place to start, and we have a lot of fun.
A little fun.
Well, yeah. Yeah, it's basically 2 days of Terry making fun of me, which
so if you want to come see Stefano and be made fun of, it goes both ways.
Yeah. Except it's for some reason everybody laughs when you make fun of me, but then when I make fun of you, it's like straight crickets.
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. So, and what else do we have there? It's you learn to how to flush out some of your stories.
Yeah, that's a huge one. So if you
Hmm.
think you don't have any stories, or you think I used to think that. I used to think I didn't have any good stories. What will I talk about?
Hmm.
I remember after doing, I think, my third Toastmaster speech, I thought, oh, I think that's it. I think that's what else do I
Hmm.
talk about now? So if you think I don't have anything to talk about, we'll help you find things to talk about.
Yes. And here's a big thing, and this is what stops a lot of people from following their passion for speaking is they're like, well, I haven't done anything interesting.
Oh, that's
It's
huge.
like, no, you don't have to climb Mount Everest
No.
to get up on stage and give a speech. You don't have to have survived cancer to get up and give a speech and inspire people. Man, I my last speech that I did inspired lots of people. It was about my mom's birthday.
Yeah.
Nobody died. I didn't cross the Atlantic by swimming. It was just a speech, a good story, a nice story,
Mhm.
but with a powerful message. And you can find out your message too and what stories to use with that message to inspire people.
Yeah. It really is the perfect combination of NLP and speechcraft
Yes.
that we deliver.
Yeah. That's what makes us different. I
Yeah.
like that. That's what makes it. If when I first started speaking, if I would have had something like this,
Hmm.
I would have. I don't know if there's any amount of money I wouldn't have paid.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes all the difference. Yeah.
So yeah, that's it.
That's it.
You have a sense of excellence. Have a sense of excellence when you're speaking, and that's how you'll become a great speaker. To
Practice
become it,
champion.
yes, practice like a champion, prepare like a champion.
Prepare like a champion. Yeah.
That's right. And eventually you'll become one
Yep.
in life or whatever.
Hmm. Is that it?
No, I think so.
Oh, you got?
Yeah. You got anything else?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
All right.
So yeah, thanks for watching.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Hopefully you liked it. And if you liked it, send it to somebody.
Yeah.
Or if you want someone that wants a little bit of inspiration or wants some public speaking tips, share it with them. Post about it, like it, love it.
Yeah. Leave us a comment. We love
Yeah. Yeah.
questions. Yeah. All right.
All right.
Good night now.
Good night now.